Hello and welcome to our Far Cry 5 review. Got myself Apps here and I'm joined by the one, the only, Tom Adkins, not Adcock. Tom, how you doing?
I am ill.
Yes.
And not in the rapper sense where they say I am ill.
Do they?
Yeah, well, Little Wayne does.
And what does that mean for those that are... Obviously I know what it means, but for the... I'm not asking.
For them,
sick.
it means sick.
Good.
I'm wicked. I am ill. But I am generally ill.
Yeah.
Well, not that bad, just a little, sickness.
Yeah. It's going around. They call it the spring illness, which occurs in these parts of the world. People off at work, all sorts going on. But we're here to review Ubisoft's latest open world first person adventure action game, Far Cry 5. Can you give us a bit of cards on the table and your history perhaps with this franchise and a rundown of what people can expect?
So, my history was with it. So, I think it must have been when 3 was coming out. I was really hyped for 3. In my standard, I went out and bought 1 and 2 because I couldn't play 3. I never played 1. Never played 1 and 2. This was in the old 360 days.
Yes.
Just before one of my last 360 games, I think it was actually. Just before I went to the Master Race.
So I remember actually one of the first things you showed me on your PC was Far Cry 3.
Oh yeah.
I came round and you was like, "Look at this," and I was like, "Oh!"
Already ratted through it on the 360.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did my normal, bought 1 and 2, ratted through them. Well, actually, I never completed 2. I found it quite hard. Another one I bottled. I think I got quite far, bottled it.
There was quite a lot of simulation aspects to that, from what I remember, with the gun jamming and the malaria thing, and even looking at... I mean, I know Digital Foundry done a comparison between Far Cry 2 and 5 and what's changed, and there's a lot more physics-based stuff going on in 2, for sure, so I can imagine it being a bit more of a grounded experience.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was a good game, but it was ahead of its time. But I don't think it really had much of a story that engaged me enough to keep on playing it.
Right.
But anyway, it was all looming up to 3. Played 3. Fucking loved 3. I was so in love with 3. And then 4 came out. I played that. I liked it, but it didn't hit the heights of 3.
No.
And then about a year after that, they released that Primal. And I had an intention of buying it, but it got put by the wayside.
Yeah.
And I was a bit fed up with the formula by then.
Yeah.
So it's been a few years since then. Yes. And then I've heard all this stuff coming out that they've changed the formula. Oh. This is a new type of Far Cry. It's not the same clear down merchant. And here we arrive at Far Cry 5. I see all the promo stuff and I really like the setting.
Yes.
So that's what hooks me.
Normally we're on some exotic island or the Himalayas in 4, but we are in the United States, boots on the ground almost.
Yeah.
And it is a bit of a change of setting, a bit closer to home for many of our American fans, if you can call them fans, sort of people who stumbled across this by accident. But how long roughly have you spent playing Far Cry 5?
So I went from start to finish, and that took 30 hours.
Right. And is that full completion or is it just mostly completion but the main campaign's done? How did you come to a point where you went, right, that's it, line drawn? It's not a full completion. I've still got stuff to do. Yes.
But it was enough. The way it sets up, it was enough to get the campaign and the story finished, and I got to see the credits roll.
Right, yeah.
So there's stuff there to go back to if I want to continue it.
Yeah.
But there isn't any purpose for it. It's not one of these games that has like an end game or anything.
Yeah.
You just it's there if you want it. If you want to carry on mucking about in that world, it's there for you. But there's no achievement for doing it. There's no real... You're not getting anything out of it, really.
No, fair enough. But we've been through the main campaign at about 30 odd hours.
Yeah.
Let's move into the story, because it's interesting that you said that number 2 didn't have the story to kind of keep you hooked and and that you loved 3 and then didn't like 4.
Yeah.
With Far Cry 5, obviously, it had a very there's a lot of spotlight put on to the story because people were making suggestions that it's making a commentary for certain types of policies and things going on over in America, and it seemed like it felt like it was going to be a bit more of a grounded experience from a lot of the marketing material, maybe something a little more sinister. How is the story in Far Cry 5? Does it deliver a good narrative, and is it what you was expecting going in? I guess that's a question that would be good to start with.
It was what I was expecting. I suppose it was. I was expecting it to be a bit more brutal than it was.
Yeah.
It's sort of similar to a film. I can't remember if I reviewed it or not. I can't even remember the freaking name of it now. Hostiles. I don't think I did review it. It was this film that was sort of set in a real brutal time, and sort of the first sort of couple of scenes were real brutal, and you're thinking, right, this is setting that sort of standard for the rest of the film, and then it sort of dipped from down there. So I felt that Far Cry 5 did this. Like, it sets up and you're like, cool, this is brutal, and then in the story it never really gets that brutal again.
Right. Yeah.
But however, it is a very engaging story. Right. I think it holds up well. The story as a whole kept me interested. And it's always going to be, it's the characters that they seem to really, they're good at making these characters, but they sort of hit their peak with that Vast from number 3.
Yeah.
So everyone now compares whatever they do to him.
Yes.
So he's got this benchmark right at the top. And unfortunately, the main antagonists from the game, they don't hit the heights of Vast.
Okay.
But I think I personally enjoyed the story and setting of the game.
Yeah.
And like I say, I feel it warrants enough to keep your interest.
Fair enough. There was a lot of some of the criticism for the game. It's got very strong reviews, but the people were pointing at the story, and even Biff, he was playing this almost alongside you. Yeah. He didn't get through to completing it, but he mentioned he was skipping cutscenes and stuff midway through.
I think.
Can you see why people were tempted for that, or is that just for you a bit like, oh no, what are you doing?
It is. A lot of people say this with like films, like the pacing of it and stuff.
Yeah.
It does feel like it's obviously it's a game, so you're sort of not getting much story in between sort of elements of gameplay. So you'll go off and play like, I don't know, 3 hours maybe without having this piece of story added to you.
Yeah.
And then you have this cutscene. So I can see someone like Biff sort of just getting fed up with having to tag along this story. He probably just wants to crack on.
Yeah.
Rather than this having it drip fed to him. And then what it does is quite a lengthy cutscene as well, which I can imagine he gets bored with.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's credit to how fun and interesting the gameplay is. But yeah, I can see it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea.
No.
I think I've mentioned with Biff, I've heard him talk. He doesn't like religious stuff, does he? Well, there another game, and I can't remember what it was. It was Horizon, wasn't it? He kept moaning about him talking about praise the sun or whatever they kept saying.
Mother's heart and all that.
Mother's heart, that's right.
He didn't like all that. He doesn't like all the talking in, as he calls it, riddles and things like that. So
there's a lot of that in this game. Obviously, they're very biblical, the main antagonist, so maybe that could have done it for him, bless him.
Didn't want to entertain it. Let's move on to sort of presentation and performance. You played this on the Xbox One X.
Yeah. So
out of the console experience is going to be the best one. Obviously, Master Race in its own league.
Yeah.
What are the graphics like in this game? Is it a solid experience in terms of frame rate? Did you have any issues with crashes or anything like that?
Yeah. Overall, it was brilliant. It was a very good-looking game. Yeah. The way the sort of vibrant colours they use for the grass is very it's obviously set in a rural American countryside in Montana.
Yes.
So you'd think there wouldn't be much variety of colour, but you've got like forests, and then there's like mountainsides.
Right.
the palette does, like when you see grass, it does look quite vibrant, but throughout the movie, it's quite sort of browns and greys and stuff. So it's a good contrast of both. But that's the reason why I chose to play it on the Xbox One X, was because the old DF boys told me that it is a native 4K.
Right.
So it's definitely one of the best looking games on that Xbox One X.
Yeah.
The little like sitting quite close to the TV and see some great detail in it. And it's definitely one of the strongest points of the game for me. But no, I didn't have any crashes at all.
Good.
And yeah, it was a solid 30 FPS throughout. I didn't have any downgrade from that at all.
Well, there you go. That's all you can ask for, really, at this sort of level.
A lot of people will say that they struggle with 30 FPS on the first-person shooter, but I think it's fine. As long as it's stable, it's doable.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. So this is obviously open world.
Yep.
I've got these kind of memories of 4. That's the only other one I played of sort of leveling your character or your gear up and stuff like that. Is that all still in place, or have they made some changes as to how the game's actually designed and structured, and then also how you as a character progress?
So they were sold to us that it was going to be different from previous things. So it's not going to be this sort of clear down merchant. However, sort of 15 to 20 hours in, you start realising, hang on a minute, it's just different variety.
Right, yes.
So the way the world's set out is you have 3 regions, and you have to clear each one down doing different tasks. And you're sitting there thinking, right, well, if on the first game you do like your sort of, what was it, your camps, outposts, your outposts, and you had them towers that everyone got pissed off with because they're in every single game. So they sort of have the same as that in this game, but they've sort of changed it up a bit.
Okay.
So it's a similar experience, but it's not the same. And also I felt that them outposts as well, they differ a lot from, whereas in the old previous games, you sort of clear them out, they'll all practically be the same. You get the same cutscene, and it would just be run in, kill it, every person, and go. Yep. Well, sometimes there's a bit more of like platforming to do. Some will be like in a electrical unit and stuff. There's quite a bit of variety, and you get different sort of cutscenes when you sort of liberate them and stuff. So it did change it up quite a bit. So you feel like you're getting this new experience in the gameplay. But then, like I say, 10, 15 hours, you start getting the sort of repetitiveness, and you start getting the old memories of the old games, and you think, right, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But I think the strongest part of the game, of the way it's sort of set out, is it felt more like a sort of Bethesda game, in the fact that you'd go off. So no, not buggy. There is some great bugs. I didn't really experience many.
I've seen some videos, but
you see some howlers, didn't you?
That's always, most open world games have those.
Yeah, but I think so. Like, with Fallout and stuff, you'll go to do a mission or something, and you'll just get sidetracked by just craziness. You stumble across like a side mission, or it's just some random stranger doing something.
Yeah.
But this year, you'll be on the way to a mission, and all of a sudden, you'll see like a cheetah being chased by a bear, and then you'll see the bear attack like some enemies and a car, and a plane will fly over.
Yeah,
it's incredible. It's really cool. It makes the world feel like alive more than the previous games. You sort of had your camps and that. You go to there and think, oh, this is alive. But when you're in the wilderness, other than a few little animals, you're like, ugh. But the whole world that you're walking around felt alive. I felt.
That's always one of its pulls of Far Cry. The dynamic events that happen with the wildlife and the NPCs and everything interacting. Then you you drop a Molotov, and then fire starts, and before you know it, there's all sorts of chaos. Have they done anything in terms of changing the mechanics or the controls in terms of the shooting or the moment-to-moment gameplay? I know you can obviously pull buddies in this time as well, so that obviously will change up how you approach certain situations. Yeah,
definitely. No, this pretty much is standard formula. They seem to have taken a lot of emphasis off of the wingsuit, which is still available, but that was sort of like the be all and end all in the last games, wasn't it? You knew you was the Mac Daddy once you got that.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty redundant in this game because you've got access to sort of planes and helicopters.
Yes.
Which was it 4? You just had that little gyrocopter.
Little gyrocopter, yeah. And it couldn't fly over the mountains. That's why you were stuck there.
Right. Well, now it's sort of unlimited. You can get in I don't know, no jets. You can get in some planes and stuff and fly wherever you want. Yeah. So it seems unlimited. Unfortunately, I didn't get to experience any drop-in co-op. Unfortunately, I still would like to. Sir Logan has offered me something, hasn't he? So it was promised me some sort of co-op. Yeah, probably has. Yeah. But I'd like to experience that. But I think that would change up how you play. So. My sense was I was sort of starting off stealthily until I knew I weren't going to run into some problems. Then as soon as I'd sort of taken out alarms and stuff, I'd just go balls to the walls and fucking blast the shit out of everything. Yeah. But it could be different with 2 people.
Mix it up for sure. Is it a difficult game? Because I've seen stuff and it just looks like things can escalate so quickly and you can get caught with your pants down quite easily. Is it feel like is it a struggle or is it generally manageable just on the odd occasions things can escalate?
It's just I was sort of wondering about this. Overall, I think it's quite an easy game.
Okay.
So I'd probably advise someone like an experienced gamer to try it on hard. I didn't, to be fair. I don't know why, because I just like the easy route, I suppose. But you do sort of feel, because the upgrades are different this time. You don't have the old ones. You had to like farm pelts, didn't you, to like upgrade your gear. Well, everything in the world now is done by money, so you get money for missions and you come across money and stuff. So everything's paid by cash, and that's how you upgrade as well.
Yes.
So it's a bit different to how you play. But I've completely forgotten what I was talking about now.
That's all right. I was talking about difficulty. That was all.
Difficulty. That was it. Sorry. So like I say, overall, I felt that it was a bit easy because you upgrade. Like you can upgrade straight from the get go. Nothing really is locked.
Right.
So you can unlock some like things like an extra gun. So from the get go, you're pretty overpowered essentially.
Yeah.
So I never really felt sort of naked as such. Like also you get these companions, which is like new to the game as well. They're called guns for hire.
Oh yes.
And then there's what's the animal ones? I can't remember now. But anyway, you get out certain animals that you can come along with you as well. And that is again, it's just having like an NPC with you. You never really get scared.
No.
But there are a few sort of instances in the game where it will take you away into a different environment where you're on your own.
Yeah.
And then that can all of a sudden you do, like you say, you do find yourself with your pants around your ankles, getting your arse spanked.
Yeah.
Especially when some of the harder enemies come in, like the heavy, they're back again.
Yes.
So so there are certain things in it where you will feel a bit power, but like I say, overall, I'd definitely say this is quite an easy game.
Cool. For the price that you pay, do you feel like Far Cry 5 gives you good value there?
So I played full price, which seemingly seems to be the norm now. Looking at that £46, I probably could have got it for a couple of quid cheaper, but I've had to wait, so I just went for it. It gave me a 30-hour experience.
Yeah,
I could go back and probably do another 5, maybe.
Jump on the arcade mode, which is like a multiplayer map creator.
That's true. Yeah, I had a little go at that. It didn't really grab me by the bollocks, to be fair. But it's good for people that are quite creative and into that sort of thing. That sort of stuff. Well, I don't know. I used to enjoy a bit of Minecraft or something, but you see people making that Mario Maker, they seem to do the absolute bollocks on that stuff.
Yeah.
I try and I just stick a few trees and go, done.
No, I'm always a player. I always just prefer to play other people's games rather than create mine.
Yeah, I had a little go on it and had a little play, but there's nothing really much there for it. So it's not too bad. value-wise. It's perfect length for me. Me and you have been discussing off air, haven't we, how we sort of are preferring these smaller games. But we ain't going to be sitting there knocking 70 hours into it. So good value for me, but if there's someone who wants to really whack into some hours into this game, then maybe hold off until a bit of a price cut, which according to paper will be £10 in a couple of weeks. So.
Yeah, that's what he's claiming, which I disagree. I think it says the biggest launch of a Far Cry game in the UK. It's certainly doing well. Any other business that you'd like to cover that we haven't discussed before we move into the sort of final stages of this?
I'm trying to think if there was anything.
You not have to answer yes. It's only if.
No,
good.
Characters are pretty good.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm alright.
Fair enough then. So, final sort of thoughts, and then we'll move into bidding it or buying it and grading and whatnot.
Yeah. So, I haven't actually even explained. I go towards my score, but right. So, my overall thoughts. I'm a big fan of Far Cry, and I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was a very good entry. It's not perfect. It has still got sort of its tailing repetitiveness from old games. However, it is changed up, so it's enough for you to be interested.
Yes.
Give it a go. So worth that. Definitely the best Far Cry game to play, I'd say, gameplay-wise.
Okay.
So that will get a lot of people sniffing. Yes. Story-wise, it's a strong story, but characters are good, but not as good as 3.
They're never going to have to overcome that, are they?
No.
Well, let's move into the all-important golden question.
Yep.
Far Cry 5, should you buy it or bin it?
I'd say fucking buy it.
Excellent. Dimp Digital buy it, seal of approval there. And what's your official grading for Far Cry 5?
So, overall, I've got this score set in my head. And I had this, and then I got to an ending. And I've got to say, obviously I will never spoil it for anyone, but this ending was the fucking bollocks of an ending. So with that, it changed my score.
Yeah.
And with that, I'm going to give it a gold. It was a dead cert silver. But then this ending, and this is definitely on the on sort of personal preference. A lot of people might not like this ending,
right.
So take that with a pinch of salt. But I fucking loved it, and I think a few other people do like it, like looking online. But yeah, the ending made it for me, and I think that's what it was. Sort of, it was a dead cert silver, and this just pushes it on the line. So this would be the lowest gold you could get.
Shit gold, but gold nonetheless.
Yeah, I think overall the package with the ending and the good gameplay and the good story and good characters, it deserves a gold, I suppose. But it's that ending, man.
Theory, mate. Well, that's slightly intrigued me to find out what that is. For reference. Actually, I'm not even going to comment. I can't remember what I gave Far Cry 4 now. It may have even ended up being a bronze in the end.
Really?
After about 20 hours, I'm done. And I'd another 10 or 15 to go. But Far Cry 5 lands itself a coveted gold standard here at Dimp Digital. And we will be back in the future with more reviews, opinions and commentary and all things gaming and the other parts of film and whatnot. So hit subscribe, like the video if you want to hear more from us, and nothing more for us to say apart from thanks for your time and ta-da.
I was chosen by God. I have apostles. I help the blind to see. I save souls. But unlike the chosen one sent before, God will never let you take me.
This world is on the brink.
Don't you understand what we're trying to build?
And now, collapse is upon us. We will take you, willingly or not. Begin the reaping!
The cult's stealing our land, kidnapping our friends. This is our home.
I thought if we could just hang on, Eden's Gate would just go away.
They've been waiting for somebody to kick off their goddamn holy war. You need to build up resistance.
Make no treaty with them! And show them no mercy.
If we stick together, cult will never break us.
What God gives, no man can take away.